really short. That my attempt is to be short because I wanted to give my opinion. This is just an opinion. This is not a class or teaching or anything. This is strictly an opinion as a woman who has left the United States and has been gone for 3 years. You hear a lot of people, and I want to specifically speak to the black culture, to the African American culture. So if you identify with being black or African American or black American, any kind of black, because there's a lot of different types of black, right? If you identify as that, then maybe you want to stay tuned. If you don't identify as that, then this may not be the video that you'll find interest in. But I have found that I see this influx of people saying that they're getting ready to leave the United States, right? And they're talking about all of the grievances that they have and all of the reasons why they want to leave. And when I hear that, I do feel a kind of way, right? I feel a kind of way because I don't care where you go, there's going to be something. Wherever you go, there's going to be something. Now, I will say Mexico was a great choice for me, but it was also a choice that I've always known that I wanted. I didn't just come up with Mexico before I left. In fact, if you look at some journals that I have in like my 20s and my 30s, you will see me talking about that I wanted to establish in Mexico. I wanted to get some land and build a family here in Mexico. So I always knew that Mexico was where I wanted to be. I had never been to Mexico. I came here sight unseen. I drove 3 days by myself in my SUV to Mexico. And definitely the adrenaline took the best of the trip because I really didn't, until I got here and got in my my dwelling for the first 10 days, I got like a booking.com for the first 10 days just to kind of breathe and look at the city and find out exactly what I want to do. I had a plan, but again, sight unseen. When I got here, I just needed to look around and just kind of take a break. Shit, I had been driving for 3 days by myself. And the adrenaline goes down and it's kind of like, oh my God, what did you do? You're here by yourself. You don't know the language, right? All of that. Lots of questions. And I want to talk about what that looks like when you're moving to different countries. I want to talk about what that really looks like. I want to teach a lot of you how to peep game for people that are just talking, right? That are just talking. I want you to peep game because I see some people that actually go out and they move to a different country and then they put on these videos. If you notice, I don't have one video on here encouraging people to move to Mexico. I don't have one video on here telling people how easy it is and how cheap it is. I don't have one video on here like that. And I'm going to tell you the reason why in a second. I think those videos are negligent. I think those videos are very in part. And I think there are a lot of questions that as adults you need to be asking questions before you even think about doing stuff like that. So anyway, number one, my age makes a difference. I moved here when I was 39. Yeah, 39. I'll be 42 in 90 days. So I moved here at 39. There's a big difference between a 39-year-old person who is more established in their mind and their thinking and in their careers than someone that's in their early 30s and late 20s that don't have an established career, right? Don't have the life skills, the life experiences. I am a mental health worker, and so I say this from the experience of my clients, and I say this confidently that if somebody that's on here that is in their 40s hears this, they will agree. But just because you have had a rough upbringing, just because you have had a difficult or a different upbringing, does not mean you have the same life wisdom as a 40-year-old. And 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds don't understand that. We all did it, okay? That's how we're able to speak so confidently to 20 and 30-year-olds. We did the same thing. At 25, I thought I knew everything. At 35, I thought I knew everything. At 41, I realized I don't know nothing. I don't know, like especially if you're a person that travels, and I'm a global traveler, when you travel and when you get into your 40s, you realize how little you know. You realize that there is an entire wealth of knowledge out that you haven't even tapped into. spiritually and in the natural. Like there's just so much information, but it is very difficult sometimes to talk to the zeal and the excitement and the know-it-allness of 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds, but you don't know anything. Somebody said I started over at 30. You didn't start over at 30. You didn't start yet. You just started it. And I mean, you've taken your first step at 30. Baby steps. You're still wobbly. You don't realize it. You don't think you are. And I'm sure somebody looking at me right now that's 31 saying, not me, I'm different. No, you're not. No, you're not. You are the same like all of us. We all have to take a life's journey. And when you hit 40, you will realize, you'll look back at your 30s and your 20s and you'll be like, ooh, I thought I had it figured out. I don't care if you have kids. I don't care if you're married. What you think you know in your 20s and your 30s, you know a lot about maybe one area, or you may know a lot about two areas. But I promise you, as sure as I'm about to be 42, that what you think you know and you're so like concrete about it, you don't know anything. And at 40, you realize, okay, I really don't know anything. Like you really just kind of sitting like, I thought I had it figured out and I didn't. So I said that to this. When you see people that are online saying that they moved to a different country and they love it, there are questions that are left unanswered, right? Number one question is, how do you plan to maintain your living? Okay? A lot of you all that come over with your savings account, that's going to run out. What do you have established that's going to continue to feed your bank account with $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month without you physically being in the United States? What virtual income do you have in? What online presence do you have? And I think a lot of social media influencers are going to different countries believing that they're just going to blog about it and that people are going to, support their videos and they're going to get monetized through it. I hope that you all have seen through TikTok is getting ready to close down. There are probably millions of people on TikTok that have quit day jobs, that have quit school, that have quit learning, right? To invest all of their time, energy, and resources into that online platform of TikTok. And TikTok is getting ready to close down in a week or two. I'm sure a lot of people are frantic right now about how they're going to support themselves. So every influencer that is overseas, that is in a foreign country, and TikTok is about to close down, and that was your main source of income, that's problematic. When I came here, I had my mental health business already established. I am a mental health practitioner. I work with people with energy. I work with people that are leaving the religions. I work with people that are healing from childhood trauma. And I work with people who are neurodivergent, who are ADHD, who are bipolar 2, particularly Black women that are trying to navigate life. And so I had already had my clientele established. I was already making a certain amount of money every month on contract. So I knew that I could come down here and still be able to work, still be able to, build my social media platform and be more than okay. I knew to do that though because of my life experiences, because of wisdom, because of understanding that you could be high on the hog in one season. I understand feast and famine, being an entrepreneur. I understand the seasons where you are making tons of money and the seasons where you don't. So for example, in my business, about the end of October, November, and December, people that are parents are spending an exorbitant amount of money on the holidays. And so my clientele lightens up at the end of the year. If I don't know that, right? If I'm just running on youthful zeal and ignorance, I'm just spending like it's a normal month. I don't do that because I am very aware that either I make a little bit more, when I make a little bit more during the front of the year to put more aside so that I don't have to work as hard at the end of the year because, okay, obviously people are, got their money going elsewhere. That's fine. I take that time to like lessen my hours. So I don't work a lot at the end of the year because, like I said, people's priorities are in other places. I know that, I recognize that, I plan for that. But when you are young, full of zeal, and you think you're invincible and life can never happen to you, you don't plan for things like that. I want you also to, when you see people that are in different countries, okay, their income coming in, you gotta, what is that? If they're not telling you what their income coming in and you feel like all they're doing, sometimes they'll tell you that, it's easy. Come out here to Thailand, come out here to Bali, come out here to Tanzania, come out here and just be consistent with your YouTubes and blah, 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 and you'll monetize. You should not bank on that. at all. You know, YouTube changes their algorithm. They change their terms of agreements. These platforms change things all the time because they'll realize that they're giving a lot of money away, right? And as soon as profits go down in some area, you think that they're going to take it away from the internal people that work for these companies? No, they're going to learn different ways to lessen the monetization of us, right? You have to pay attention to that. Hola, mi hermana is from Chihuahua. Hola, Brian. So you got to remember that. But number two, you watch them. Watch how long they stay in these places. If somebody can't stay in a place more than 6 months, they can't stay in a place more than a year, that is your prime example that they got out there ill prepared. They got out there and they didn't have a plan. They got out there banking on putting their eggs in one basket, and the basket busted open, right? That happens. Life happens. When you are over a certain age, you plan for life. You plan for the ebbs and flows. You plan for the feast and the famine, because the famines will come. They're gonna come. That's a natural part of flow. And again, just sometimes when you are very, very, very youthful and you're full of vibrance and exuberance and all that jazz, you don't pay attention to those kind of things. You don't even know to pay attention to those kind of things. And it's difficult for people my age to talk to them because they don't want to hear that, right? They know, okay, well, you know, and especially if they're doing well in a season, if you try to give them wisdom while they're doing well in a season, it's falling on deaf ears, and actually you're probably very annoying to them. But the truth is the truth. With older people, a lot of times they're trying to, there are a lot of older people that will try to fear you into things, right? I'm not that girl. I'm that girl that jumps off of shit. Like, I mean, listen, at 39, I drove to Mexico 3 days by myself. I ain't never been here, right? Don't know the language, don't know nothing. Just online research. I drove. So I am not the person that's going to talk somebody in fear. What I do is I talk people through, hey, this could happen. Plan now for this. Plan now for this. Have a second something for this. Have a backup for this. That's me. That's always my MO. Do what you want. Plan it out all the way. Start talking to people. Get you some good advisors around you. And plan for the difficult seasons. That's my philosophy, right? Especially as a Black woman over 40 that lives by myself. I am my own backup plan. If anything happens, I am the one that takes care of that. I am the one that steps in. I am my own husband, right? So I absolutely plan, for everything that could possibly happen. Another thing I want you guys to be mindful of, again, let me go back to what I said. There's not one video, and I've lived here for 3 years. I don't have one video on my account that's telling you to come to Mexico. I don't have any videos on my account telling you that Mexico is easy, because it is not. There are so many things here once you get here that are not, the conveniences and luxuries that the United States has come with a cost. But nevertheless, they are convenient and they are luxuries that some of them you may not have here. There are some places in Mexico, especially in the city. I live in Puerto Vallarta. There are some houses, there are some communities where you cannot throw the toilet paper into the toilet stool because they don't have a septic like we have. See, you just assume. You just assume that all bathrooms are like the ones in the United States, right? You just assume that. I would have never thought. I had a friend that rented a place down here, and they told her to don't throw the toilet paper in the toilet stool, and I was like, pourquoi? What? Why? And she says, I forgot what she said, but I realized they don't have, in the United States, most of the plumbing has a septic system on it. And not all the places have that here. Their plumbing, their wiring is not the exact same like ours in every place. And so there are some places that cannot contain large amounts of toilet tissue. And so I'm talking about for the front and the back, you are disposing into bags, okay? These are things you need to think about. Everything is not a resort. You people that are leaving the United States very temporarily, they're not going and leaving forever. People say, I'm going to go, I moved. You did not move anywhere for 6 months. You visited. If you don't have your paperwork, if you're not a resident, you did not move anywhere for 6 months. If you have not been to, in Mexico, we have two lines, right? We have the people that come in the passport line, but then we have the residence line when you come into customs. There's a difference between when you're visiting and when you're moving, okay? There's a difference when people are coming and visiting places for 6 months and they're putting on their social media platforms that they moved. Please don't believe, it's not what you think it is. The words that they're using are misleading. They haven't moved anywhere. If they have if they are long-term visiting another country and they're still living in like an area where there are tons of English speakers and that's not the native language, you didn't move anywhere. Here, where I live, in my vecindario, I only have, there are 2 men that I can speak English with. And my friend Marilu, she's kind of like an HOA lady. We practice our Spanish with each other and we practice our English with each other. But she doesn't really speak English, she speaks Spanish. And so I'm more practicing my Spanish with her. When you live in neighborhoods where you have to figure out the language, where you have to break out your translator every day to get your basic things done, when you have to go into the store, and Americans assume that there's Wi-Fi everywhere. But when you don't know the language and there's no Wi-Fi, and you don't know the word for beef, and you don't, like grocery store shopping, you don't know the word for whipping cream, how are you gonna ask what whipping, and you don't know what the shit says on the box? This is the difference between people living here and people visiting, okay? I'm trying to tell you the difference. When you're seeing these social media influencers online claiming that they've moved somewhere and they're so happy and they're trying, that is smoke and mirrors. Smoke and mirrors is a facade. Smoke and mirrors are an illusion, okay? When you really live in another country, okay? When your paperwork is together, when you have your visas, when you are inside of the communities where you're learning the language and you're immersing yourself, when, let me tell you another thing, Mexico, right? Again, everybody is different. A lot of people, I have a vehicle down here, right? But getting that registered is a process, right? But a lot of people don't have vehicles down here. Don't just assume that they have Ubers everywhere. We have Ubers here. But our Ubers are hustlers at the same time. Mexican folks are hustlers. They are not going to do things that don't benefit the business people. The people that are in hustle mode, they're not going to do things unless it benefits them. And you also need to know down here in Mexico, if you're a pretty girl, their benefit for you may be a benefit. I'm not doing that kind of benefit, but if you that kind of passport girly, you may be wanting to do that benefit, but sometimes that could be suggested. Because there's some areas that they may not want to drive through because they're too far for them. And they'll decline. Like, nope, that's too far. I'm not going to make enough money. Nope, no thank you. They'll decline. They don't owe you anything down here. And let me tell you, this is a real big one. If you're short on money, you know how in the United States, if you're like a nickel short or a few pennies short, they'll just be like, go ahead, don't worry about it. In Mexico? Oh no, honey. These people work for what they have down here. These people work fucking hard down here. So if you 20 pesos, no, not 20, because that's $1. But if you like, I don't know, 3 pesos short, you better go find them 3 pesos. Now, where that could be an acceptance is if people start to recognize you. So for example, my first apartment that I lived in was off of a street called Jacarandas in Zona Romantica. And the store next to me, they knew me. They started seeing me all the time. So if I was a little short on something, or if their credit card, please don't assume that oh goodness, that's a whole nother thing. But hold on, let me finish that statement, then we go to the credit card machines or debit card machines. But if they start to get to know you and you start to be a friend and they start to know that you live in the area, you can have some help sometimes on that. I've been on the bus one time where I had maybe like 500 pesos. I had a bill of 500 peso, and the bus is only like 1 peso. 20 pesos maybe. I don't really even know how much it was. I just got on the bus because I needed to. At the airport, they want you to like walk up a big hill, across the highway on a bridge, and go down. And I was like, I ain't doing all that now with this luggage. So I just got on the bus and went to Walmart and said, I'm just gonna get a cab from Walmart. So that was a great idea, but I didn't have small bills with me. But do you know, the bus driver was like, he didn't say don't worry about it, but he kind of was like, like stupid American. I'm like, you're right, I am stupid. But then all of a sudden, a young boy gets up and he says to me, because the bus was totally full, standing up, he's like, and I was like, no, don't worry about a teenager. He was like, Basically, sit down, old lady. I went, my old lady. So I sat down, and then all of a sudden, money started coming up from the back of the bus for me, for my fare. And I tried to give them the bigger bill, but they refused to take it. So there are very much acts of kindness here. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, when it's about business, oh no, don't, you better have all your money together, because you may have to walk. They will make you go to the ATM machine for 50 cents. I don't have 50 cents. Well, there's an ATM machine right there. Depending on who you're talking to. It's not the same, that same kind of like spoiledness that we get in the United States. No. Now I was trying to say debit cards and credit cards. And in the United States, us that are under 40, well, I'm not under 40, but people that are under 40, y'all just think you can just come and swipe your card for anything, don't you? Not down here in Mexico, especially if you're not in a tourist area, a lot of things are still pesos only. They may have a tarjeta machine. Tarjeta, it means card. They may have a tarjeta machine, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that the tarjeta machine works. Because quite often the machine might be offline, or it's old and they don't use it, because if they don't use it a lot, then like, there are so many reasons why the tarjeta machine may not work. You could sit and eat your entire meal and get to the end and realize the machine doesn't work, and you better go get your money. You better go get them 300 pesos and pay these people. Please, right? So there are so many little things that if people that claim to move to these different cities and you're still living on resorts or in touristy areas, you have not moved anywhere. You're on vacaciones. You have just moved temporarily. You are visiting long term to get your social media content up, right? There are just people moving here, especially if they cannot stay moved or stay gone, stay in the place that they say that they moved. If they cannot maintain that for 6 months or a year, they did not move, and they also did not plan correctly. So I just saw what prompted this is, of course, I've seen a lot of people coming from TikTok to YouTube land. I've seen a lot of people after the election saying that they were going to move and being really upset and disgruntled about that. But then I just saw a video about Black people leaving Tanzania and Black Americans leaving the continent of Africa because they expected things to be like Wakanda over there. They expected to go over to Africa and the Africans were going to be like, welcome home, and they are not. And there is a lot of corruption in other places that we don't even understand. There's a lot of disdain and animosity and resentment that Black people don't culturally understand. What we understand from our point of view is we were stolen. We didn't want to be here and they didn't want us here either. So we're coming back home. Like prodigal son us, right? We want you to welcome us home with a ring and a robe. And that's not what happens. And you get over there and you get taken advantage of. You get your land taken. You done spent your life savings was $10,000. Your life savings, I get a savings $10,000. But you, in your head, thought $10,000 was enough money to come over and spend 8 of that on some land, and now you got 2,000 left, and you just thought in your mind that things were gonna jump and pop off for you very quickly, and then you didn't realize all this permits and paperwork and people holding your stuff and the waiting times. You went over there with a false expectation of thinking literally it was about to be like Wakanda forever, and it's not. It's get the hell out of here. We don't want your kind. We don't want you. You're not like us. You're not like us. And a lot of Africans from the diaspora will tell Black Americans, you're not like us. We are not like you. Now, part of that nastiness that they have in their mind is not part, all of it. It's very colonized in nature. So we had our own issues with the colonizers, but believe Africans have a love for their colonizers. So they still love them. They still see them as saviors, and they still see them as something that they want to be, a lot of them. And so, we can see what's happening economically to many of the countries in Africa because of that philosophy, right? Some of them are starting to fight back, and it's awesome. I've been seeing some of the things that have been happening in South Africa, some of the things that have been happening in Rwanda, and I'm all like fist in the air, like, get them out your country, because they culture vultures. They steal and say it's theirs. They'll repackage it, or they'll own Black people and continue to let Black people shuck and jive all on the internet and make other Black people think, oh, they're so rich, oh, they're so this. They are owned by white people. They're owned by these companies. They're not even, black people aren't even don't even have ownership of their own art, of their own culture, of their own music, of their own, anyway. People that are saying that they're trying to move to other countries, I really want you guys to be smart. And I want you, from somebody who has moved, I've been living in Mexico for 3 years, 3 años. And as someone who is forced every day to speak, every time I walk out this door, I better have enough Spanish to get me through. Every time I walk out this door, I better be able to convert over my pesos and my dollars really quickly in my head. Like, okay, because thing is that you think you see 20 pesos, which is about $1, maybe $1.10. Depends on, where the dollar is for every day. The amount changes every day, but it usually stays around 19 pesos. 19 pesos for every dollar. But then you've got to add in a bunch of little bitty, I don't even know what they call these. So like on my bank account, what I see is, so say like I go to the store and I buy something for 300 pesos. I'll see 300 pesos on my banking card, but then I'll also see maybe like a couple of days later, 50 cents this kind of fee, 20 cents this kind of fee. Every purchase. And I remember when I first moved here, I was like, what? Something's chipping away at my money real little. And I had to go line by line and realize, oh, it's not just the number that you thought, it's some extra little charges because you're international, right? So yes, I can use my card down here if the place accepts cards. Oh, another thing, ain't no Cash App down here, ain't no Zeal, ain't no Venmo. It doesn't exist. So there are things like this that you need to know and that you need to be, before you watching people just making it seem like it's so fun and so easy. There's this one boy now, he got him maybe like a house in the sky. It's like a penthouse. And he's just like, why would I go back to the United States? This is this, and this is that, and this is cheaper over here. That's not a flex, because the true truth is that being over here, when you move into a place, you've got to start having a love for the economy here. You got to start having a love for the Mexicanos here, or wherever you're going to be. And I do. I respect the culture here. I'm definitely the type of person, like if I hear some U.S. people saying some shit about the Mexicans, I'm jumping in. Because you're not going to say shit about my neighbors. You're not going to say shit about my community, right? This is my community now. This is a community that has welcomed me. They've been kind to me. It's been a refuge and home to help me get my mental health together. Yeah, I love Mexico. And so I defend, right? Like I defend. I don't be playing. And so part of that is U.S. citizens coming over arrogantly talk about how cheap everything is and how they can just buy everything, like feeling like they're millionaires over here and having the attitude that they think comes with feeling like millionaires over here and buying up things over here. And let me not blame it all on the Americans either, because there are a lot of Canadians down here that buy up stuff, right? They buy up, and white Canadians are the exact same as U.S. Canadians. You would think, or you hope that they're a little bit different. They're not. They're the exact same, okay? Only Canadians or U.S. White Americans that I fuck with down here are the ones that have been here for a long time. So I have one of my neighbors. He's been here for 20 years, married to his wife. His child is getting ready to go out to college. So he's my Mexicana as well. He's in here. So I fucks with him. And we love having discussions together because he's got an awareness as well. So it's good talking to him sometimes. But I said all that to say, when you move here, when you really move to a country, you think about benefiting the economy. You think about what's best for the people. You think about what could help the people. You think about, so for me, when people say, well, what's food recommendations? I'm telling them recommendations that are off of the marina, off of the Malikan, off of the tourist areas, because I want the people inside the neighborhoods to get some patronizing too. In fact, I'm actually thinking about how I can create a food tour. Like, maybe not every week, because I don't think I would have capacity for that, but like once a month, like doing a food tour. So that way, especially when Black Americans come down, so that I can take you guys into the neighborhood so you can really taste and see. Like, it's because in the tourist areas, it's the same thing. Like, you can buy a taco for $2 in the tourist area, but you come down to my neighborhood and you get a taco for $1. That's double the tacos, right? And you want double the, I swear you want double the tacos. I swear you want, see, oh, my favorite taco, it doesn't have a name on it. It's Taco Hut. I don't know. There is no name on it. It's Abuelita and Tia, okay? And I go over there and I take people over there to their tacos. Their tacos are elite. And they're full of, I mean full, in the daytime, full of workers, men workers, sitting at the tables. They just, oh, they got consomme all in front of that. That shit is so fucking good over there. Tia wraps it up in foil for you and stuff. You want Tia's tacos because it's going to be 10 o'clock at night. And you're going to be like, damn, them tacos was good. Tia wrapped me up 2 more tacos in the fall. You want that. You don't want to be, it's just like when we go to New Orleans. You don't want the food necessarily down in the French Quarter. You want to go get the food that's out in the neighborhood in the city. You want to go in the city and get the food. Hey, Liz. So there is a difference between someone who is coming to visit a country and who really lives there. And I want you guys to pay attention to the people's content when they say that, oh, I moved to so-and-so, or I'm leaving the country. Most likely you're not leaving the country, especially people that have children who they don't, if you have some disagreements with the father of your children and you're trying to get passports and the father of your child don't like you, you ain't going nowhere. Because he ain't gonna sign the documents to get your child a passport. You're landlocked. Gotta be real careful with that, right? You people that talking about they getting out of here, that have these trauma bonds with their families, you're not going anywhere. Because the moment you go somewhere, your mama's gonna have a crisis and you're gonna be right back. And you wanna know what your story's gonna be? I was gonna move, but my mama got sick, blah, 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 blah. When I hear shit like that, I stop listening towards the end. I already know you're in a cycle. It's nothing about what you're gonna say that's different. It's nothing. Let me tell you about me. If my mama got sick today and I had to move home, I would not necessarily move home. I'd keep my apartment here. I'd Airbnb it out. I would go home to my mama for the duration of what I needed to do, and I'd be back here. But I would not sell or move all of my, because this is home. This is home for me. Mexico's home for me. I knew that I wasn't coming back to the United States to live permanently. I always knew that I was going to get property. I said it 10 years ago in my writings that I'm going to get property here, and that I am hopefully going to bring my family and friends here, and we were going to feed and help build the economy here, because there are so many things that we can do here to help their country. Our country doesn't want the help, or they don't want to give us credit, or they don't want to hear us. That's fine. This country is not like that. You want to help? Like help and not take over, help and respect their culture? Yes. You don't get to come here and try to make it little the United States though. You don't get to come here and say how it's better in the United States and how this is a better way. If it was so better in the United States, your ass would have stayed there. So it's not better. There are things here that are better. They are smaller, but they are better. They aren't as flashy, but they are better. I want to tell you, I want to get their numbers. I never thought about this, but I'm going to do that on the next video. I'm going to come back with some numbers, or maybe I'll make a post. Like, pay attention to my post here too. I would love to know their mental health statuses here. I would like to know their percentages of depression and anxiety here. It's better here. Vibrationally, if you're a person that's very sensitive, not an empath, because I hate the word empath. You guys have grossly misinterpreted the word empath. A lot of you guys that think you're empaths, you are just hypervigilant. You're just used to staying on guard all the damn time because you grew up in chaos. That's not an empath. That means you're always scared or waiting on the shoe to drop. But a real empath is a person that can literally I can stand in the middle of a city and I can feel the waves of the televisions, of the lights, of the cars, because cars are electric, humans are electric. Anything that has anything to do with electricity, I can almost damn near feel that shit. And it's fucking overwhelming. I'm here and they don't have that much. So I feel different here. This has been home for me. I actually called myself a refugee in another video. Claiming asylum, basically. It is better here. So just because they don't have everything, all the conveniences that the United States has, remember what I said, those conveniences come with a cost. And so I gladly give up the convenience and the cost that it took for me mental health wise, and that it's taken from like 80% of Americans. I gladly give that up to come here to feel like myself again. Absolutely, I give it up. So if you do, wherever you decide to move, okay, let me kind of bring this to an end. Wherever you decide to move, shut up. Go there, figure things out, ask questions, get you some friends, get you some neighbors, find out what they need, find out their culture, find out their rules. Learn before you get online and start telling everybody to come and how easy it is. Number two is get here and sit for a little bit before you tell everybody that you done moved, because you don't know if you've moved or not. What if I had got here and I didn't like it? What if I got here and realized that they didn't like United States citizens and I'm like, oh hell no, they don't like us. What if I had got here? You don't know. If you are quote unquote moving to another country and you're still living in like resort like areas, or you're still living in touristy areas, you haven't moved yet. I knew I wasn't in a touristy area when I saw trash in the middle of the street. Like everybody was just bringing their trash to the middle of the street. Like that was the trash stop. We brought our trash to, it took me a little while. I was like, so I'm just gonna lay this bag right here? Right here, just put my bag right, okay. So there's a big pile of trash, and then anytime during the day, you don't know what time. You know how like in the United States, your trash people are on a schedule? Not here. Well, not in some areas. Where I live now, yes, they're on schedule. Better. When you are in like some of the like real neighborhoods, sometime during the day, the trash man will come, and maybe about 3 young men will jump off that truck and start swinging these trash bags that have now been bitten open from animals, from cats, from dogs digging into the trash. So as they're swinging them, trash is falling out. Do you think they're about to scoop up that leftover lettuce and beans and tortillas that's on the ground that fell out your trash can? Nope, they're not. It can be a very different situation for you. So when you really move, no, they don't. When you really move somewhere, and you can see the good and the bad and the things that you're like, ooh, this is rough here, you moved. But if you are online bragging about you moved somewhere and you ain't been there 6 months yet, you didn't move, baby. You're still visiting. And I want you guys to be mindful of that. Be mindful of the people that take their life savings of $10,000, which ain't shit, move to another country and be like, I'm just gonna figure it out. Sometimes, a very few of those people figure it out. But most of the time they run out of funds. They did not establish a method of income. I'm sorry, you guys, I'm not going to be able to look at the video. I have been struggling this entire 37 minutes because as a neurodivergent, I struggle with giving eye contact. So looking at myself through here is like giving eye contact, and it's weird as fuck. So I'm getting ready to let myself be comfortable, and I'm going to look up because I just can't. I've been struggling this whole time. And you can feel the struggle. It feels like a strain right here, like trying to look at the video. I can't. So anyway, you gotta like listen to people and what their method of income is. Like, how do you expect to support yourself? How do you expect to bring in money every month so that you can continue to live in this country? And if they don't have that figured out, and most likely people don't, they are literally online depending on the monetization of these social media platforms to be their income, and that won't work because, like most of us know, on the 19th, they're saying, of January, TikTok is gone. So for those millions of people that quit their job, that talked about their jobs, they done talked about their jobs online so bad, they're not even eligible for rehire. Or what about those people that took a leave of absence from their job, and your job been watching you online, saying that you quit, you hated it, and you done moved out the country, now you come back. You think that they about to let you come back to that? They're gonna figure out any kind of way to keep your ass gone. Because they now know that you're not even gonna be a good worker for this company. You hate it here. There are so many people that literally are getting ready to lose their income, and they don't have anything backed up. They did not structure their businesses properly. They don't have email addresses of clients. They don't have any kind of contact or capture. See, my degree is in marketing. My bachelor's degree is in marketing. My master's degree won't be in that. I'll tell you what that is later. But when people aren't prepared, and I think a lot of that comes with youth. A lot of that comes when you're talking to people in their 20s and their 30s. When you're 40 and over, it gets frustrating because it's not that we're trying, not all of us, some people are, some older people do try to talk to the young people and fear them out of things. That has never been my thing. When I talk to young people, I want them to succeed. So I will listen to what they say. I will get to know who they are, and I will clearly tell them, hey, you have a problem here. You need to make sure you build something up here. You have a deficit or a blind spot here. You need to build up for something here. I am trying to help you find strategy so that you can be successful, because I was the young person who people tried to use fear to stop me, and they did a very good job because I was stopped until I was about 34. I didn't get started until I was 34 because I was caught up in church, and I was caught up in like a black excellence kind of community where it was just very discouraged from going outside of the box and coloring outside of the lines. Well, I was born to color outside those lines, right? To me, I'm like, these lines are captivity. You're not gonna stifle me. I literally have never been able to color very neatly within the lines. Like, physically, that ain't my thing. So, does anybody have any questions? Where's everybody from? If y'all have any questions, ask me, let me know. If you're in the United States and you're thinking about moving to another country, if you have any questions, or if you're in another country and you think about moving to the United States, I wouldn't do it, but when people say that the United States is reaping a lot of what they sow, it's true. What the United States did to the indigenous Americans and the Africans. I wish that indigenous Americans would recognize the atrocities that they did with African Americans with them, because we were with you when it happened. We were right next to you. We married into you. We were together. And I wish that we would fight together, but nevertheless, I know a lot of other ethnicities want to talk about all the unfairness that happened to them. We can't even get to you until we address what happened to the indigenous Americans and the Africans. And until the United States deals with what they've done to the Africans and the indigenous and some of the indigenous are getting their land back, which about damn time. Some of the indigenous are getting tax things like they should. They're getting a lot of small victories, right? The Africans, the enslaved Africans have gotten nothing. And I know and believe that we will continue to see the things that we're seeing in the United States. It is a shit show. I didn't leave because of the shit show. He said, oh wait, my grandfather passed down his Trinidad property to me, but I'm too scared to move. Why are you scared, Dion? I mean, that's valid, being scared, but why are you scared? Because if you're scared is based on propaganda and media stuff that you've seen on TV, that's not a good reason to be scared. If you're scared is because of something you've actually personally witnessed or been a part of, I can understand that. But fear doesn't make you stop. Fear makes you plan differently. Fear should make you strategize differently. But I am interested, Dion. Let me know why you're scared. You're scared of failure? Oh, girl. Boy, you a boy or a girl? You look like a girl in your video. Girl. You want me to come to Trinidad and help you get established, girl? I'll come for 3 months. I can be your advisor for 3 months. I'm not free, but I definitely can come and help you get established. I can pretty much go to any country and establish. In fact, before I got to Mexico, I wasn't trying to move to Croatia, but I ended up moving to Croatia because when I went to the EU has a 90-day rule. So you can only stay in the EU under a certain visa for 90 days. And the 90 days are within a 6-month period. And it's basically like if you go for 60 days, you leave and you come back for 30 days, that's fine. But as soon as you hit your 90 days, every 6 months, you gotta go. So I was approaching my 90 days. I was probably like at 79 days. So I had to find another country to go to because I wasn't ready to come back to the United States. So I ended up moving to Croatia, or relocating to Croatia temporarily. And I had planned to stay there. I had an apartment and everything. But then COVID happened. And let me tell you, this is a good thing. This is a good segment. 2 things. Oh, that was good. Moving to other countries. Everybody talking about, I moved to another country. Let something happen to you medically. In the United States, they have to take care of you. In the United States, there is I don't know the rule. I don't know if it's a code of conduct or ethics or whatever. I don't care if you're a homeless person. They have to keep you alive at the ER. They have to try to keep you alive. In other countries, you think you're just about to go to the ER and they got to keep you alive in the same way? Nope. I heard of a lady that was here. There was a GoFundMe, because I'm in some groups in Puerto Vallarta. There was a GoFundMe of a lady that got sick down here. and her bill was up to $20,000, and they wasn't letting her leave the country until she paid the $20,000. But you moved, right? These people claiming that they moved somewhere, get off the gas. You don't even have a contingency plan that if you get hurt, you can get insurances in these other countries. Mexico does have health insurance. I recommend you get you a little piece of something, right? But when you go to these other countries, if you get sick and you just thinking that they're supposed to patch you up for free, or they're gonna patch you up for $2, they may not, right? But the second thing is that when you were talking about, let's see, in Trinidad, it's 11 months and 1 day. You're gonna be in Trinidad in 11 months and 1 day, or you're in Trinidad. You've been in Trinidad for 11 months and 1 day. When I relocated to Croatia, like I said, I was settling in. I had an apartment. It was the cutest little thing ever. I was literally 900 steps away from the what's the name of that? The Adriatic Sea. It was great. I actually unbaptized myself in the Adriatic Sea before I left. I think it was like March of 2020. I unbaptized myself out of Jesus' name. And I rebaptized myself in my name. Because most of you all know, if you're new here, Kelly Marisha, I'm an atheist, agnostic, kind of undertones. I believe we're all God, right? Every dog, cat, animal, tree, person, all of us are God, right? And so, let some international news happen, or some like world news happen, and you don't know the language, so you can't read the newspapers to understand what's going on. There's no radio stations to tell you what's going on. There's no neighbors that speak English to tell you what's going on. The only reason why I knew some shit was popping off was online. I was seeing on social media that there was a virus running rampant throughout the country, and I was like, what is going on? And then they said, oh, there's a cruise ship in Rome that they're not letting come onto the, they're not letting make it to land because people on the cruise ship had COVID. So the day that the cruise ship made it to land in Rome, where was I? In Rome. I was like, ooh, I had a layover in Rome. I was like, hurry up and get me out of here before these COVIDers make it to this, because at the time they didn't have no name for it yet. These people that were sick. I want to be out of this airport by the time the people that are sick make it to this airport. I probably was like a few hours in front of them. Get me the hell up out of here. I knew something was going on, some sort of sickness. And in the Croatian newspaper, they were making caricatures of Donald Trump, like laughing at him, like making his head real big and making his face like a pig or something. I was like, I know that's the Trumpers because of the hair, but I don't know what it's saying. When you move to other countries and there is global catastrophe and you cannot use communicate to understand what's going on, you better know it's not just about moving to other countries because you think it's paradise and you think you're not going to have to work and you think you just get to lay back because you got this. Money will run out. So you better have a plan on how you plan to continue to build your money every month. You got to be getting up, waking up, putting in I put in office hours every day. I put in like 2 hours of office hours every day. I don't just be sitting. Right now, did I want to come live? I did not. But talking gives me a dopamine blast. But I'm about to go back to sleep. Do y'all see my eyes? I'm about to go back to sleep. You see these little baggies? I always had little baggies. I had baggies when I was born. But I'm sleepy. I'm going back to sleep. Because Mexicans party till 4 a.m. And I'm sure they got up and went to work this morning. I don't know how y'all do it. But I heard fiesta music up until 4 a.m. this morning in my backyard. I don't know how y'all do it, but I'm going back to sleep. You know, you don't just get to sleep all day. You don't just get to shop all day and go eat lunch by the... Somebody was like, are you close to the beach? Yeah, I'm about 10 minutes from the beach. I'm about 8 minutes from the marina. Ask me the last time I was there. I'm not just sitting at the beach and at the marina looking at ships all day. I'm not. I can hear the cruise ships, like when they pull their horn to back up. I can hear that. That's about as much water and aqua that I am around, besides the agua in my shower. It is when you move somewhere, when you truly move somewhere, it is different. When you truly move somewhere and you have to start interacting with the people and the government and the laws, that's when you know you really moved somewhere. When you move somewhere and you're staying, when you hit your first year, that's great. You hit your second year, that's great. You hit your third year, bitch, you moved. I moved to Mexico. I didn't visit. I always knew I moved here. I always knew I wasn't, because I had a plan. I had money. I knew where my money was gonna come every month. And especially when I got this townhouse, I moved. Like, it's really moved and lived in, because I went to my closet. I was like, damn, you got a lot of clothes down here. I moved down here with the clothes that I could put in my car. Now I got 2 closets full of clothes. I have a guest bedroom. I don't know how the guest closet got full of my stuff. I got clothes down here, y'all. I got too many large. Every time I come back from like the States, I got like another large luggage. My sister's coming on Wednesday to visit. I said, you got to take one of these large luggages home, because I don't know how many luggages, but I got stuff down here. You hear me? It is. I might have a life down here. I have a nail tech. I have the people that I know, that I see, my neighbors. Like, I'm moving. The animals know me. The little dogs. When I be walking in the morning, because it's the same group of dogs, they know their friend Kelly. They're like, hold on, Dad, we gotta stop, because Kelly's gotta pet me, right? When the dogs know you, you moved here. Oh, you'll be in Trinidad for 11 months. Shoot, girl, that sounds fine. Look, I can't stay for 11 months though. I'm real introverted. I like being by myself. So like, I'll come for maybe like a month, help you get all ready. That's all it takes. Make sure you got you some money though. What kind of money? What kind of money are you gonna bring in every month? What kind of job can you create for yourself that you can work from anywhere in the world? What kind of remote job? They don't mind that your VPN says that you're in Trinidad, as long as you get the work done. You need to have you some income coming in every month. Or can you generate income on the Trinidadian property? Can you put some tiny houses out there and make a resort and put it on Airbnb and start advertising as a destination stay? So there are definitely things that you can do to bring in income, but you better have that figured out. You gotta have that figured out. Like, that's the number one thing that people are getting. To me, I am a person that I don't like to be embarrassed. So if I told you I was gonna do something, you better fucking believe it's not gonna be a couple of months or weeks later where I have to tuck tail and recant on what I said. That's not happening. If I told you I moved here, I was gonna fight tooth and nail to stay here, because I can't be looked at as a liar. I can't be looked at as somebody who couldn't do it, couldn't maintain it. So I'm gonna do everything I can to make sure that I maintain down here, so that way what I said stays true. I do not like being embarrassed. Hate it. And so it can, I don't. Now maybe, and that might be my kryptonite too. Not wanting to be embarrassed. That may be, because that means I'm gonna do whatever I can do to make sure, like I said, that. And sometimes that can make me stop making some moves, because I'm like, no, that ain't planned out enough. I don't want to be embarrassed, and that can keep me from making some moves. Yes, but that also keeps me where I say I want to be. I am not the person who makes decisions and then the next 6 months they somewhere else. Like, that doesn't look like they have stability. I got stability, right? And I just never wanted to be that person that looked like I couldn't take care of myself, and that wasn't stabilized, and not even a looking stabilized. You can feel when you're unstabilized. You can feel when you're all over the place. I've been there, done that in my 20s and 30s, being all over the place. I was not about to be in my 40s all over the place. I learned my lessons. Okay, anybody else got any questions? We're coming up on an hour. Oh, let me give me a drink. I'm moving too out of the country. People be talking big. I'm moving. I'm leaving the United States. Where you going? When you going? What you gonna do about all these children? You got passports for all these children? And especially if you have adult children that you still provide for. And listen, I believe, you hear me? I believe that you take care of these children until they're 25. I do not believe 25-year-olds are adults. 24-year-olds are adults. You're not adults and you're 25. You need to be at home. If you have a good mom and a good daddy. If you're in an abusive situation, get the hell out. But for the people that have good moms and dads that will let you stay there and pay like a little rent, keep your ass at home with your parents so that you can continue to learn and start making plans with your parents. Hey, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. Asking them if they'll have your back while I go out and do this. Can you have my back here? Yes, I have your back to do whatever you want to do. What's the plan? What's the moves? What are we doing? You can't just sit here because you're not a baby. but you are still a child. And I think that parents, if you can afford, and not just financially, but if you have the space to keep your children there until they're 25, you should do that so that they can learn how to live life under your support and safety. Why did I choose the country I moved to? I don't know. I literally can't tell you that because it was just something that I always knew that I wanted to come to Mexico. Maybe Mexico was on my radar because, like I said, this is something that I've been wanting to do since I was little, like since I was, younger. And maybe because Mexico was like, at the time for me, was like a paradise place. It was so different, and it was so like, it was maybe all I knew at the time, right? So I just held on to Mexico. It was always Mexico. Sorry guys, that's the construction workers. But I think that is the reason why Mexico. It wasn't necessarily because I felt called to Mexico. I didn't feel, and you don't have to have. When I say plenty of money, let me be real honest with you guys. I moved here with $2,500. Why did I move with $2,500? Two reasons. Because I knew that I had a contract for at least $1,500 every month. At the time, I had a contract for $1,500 every month because, like I said, I'm a mental health worker. And so I was already working with a few celebrities. And so I knew that I had X amount a month to come in every month. And I also knew that the cost of living down here, I could get a place. My first apartment when I moved down here was $600. So if I'm making $1,500 a month and my apartment is $600 and my utilities were maybe like $24, I had plenty. I knew that I had plenty, right? I did my research before I came. I found out what the average gas was. I found out what the average food was. And actually, when I got down, I was on food stamps. So I loaded up my car full of ramen noodles, turkey meat. I had all kinds of like non-perishable things or things that could last a really long time. So I didn't even really eat out for like my first month because I had a lot of food already in my car that I had brought down with me because I had been living homeless. So I knew how to survive homeless in the United States. And I said, okay, you got three things when you get down here. If you can't find I had 10 days at my booking.com. I rented a room. So I had 10 days there. So I knew when I got down here, I said, if you have to stay in your car, you can do that, right? You know how to use the bathroom in this car. You know how to eat in this car. You know how to find a microwave. You can do X, Y, and Z, right? So I knew I had that. But then I also knew that I had that room. And I also knew that I was connected with the Black Puerto Vallarta people on Facebook. So that's another thing too. Before you move anywhere, find out if there's any groups that are on Facebook. Find groups in other, wherever, Discord, all kinds of things that have groups. Find groups in the area where you want to go. Okay, he said he gave my Trinidad, my brother, his London property, and my mom all 3 U.S. properties. Okay, and gave you the Trinidad. But that's special. He gave you the Trinidadian property. He must know who you are to do something with it. That's pretty special. Because I bet you, is it undeveloped? Does it have any houses on it? Tell me about your Trinidadian property. Or email me, Dion. Email me. I'm at Kelly Marisha. Just look at my name on here, Kelly Marisha at Gmail. Email me. I'm interested in hearing about your story. I ain't saying what I can do. I'm just interested in hearing more about it. I would love to. I love developing. I love development. I love strategy, and I love planning. Love it. Because I'm very creative. And I know how to get shit done. Especially if I want it. That's from my mama. Whatever I want, I get. My mama got me that. So anyway, so I had my room down here. I said one of 3 things. Either I'm going to live in my car and I'll be all right because I have been doing that for 7 months. I can extend the stay at the place. But I knew 10 days was enough. 10 days was enough for me to figure things out. I know me. 10 days was enough. And sure enough, when I got here, I put a post in the Black Puerto Vallarta group. There was a girl that had an apartment already leased, but she went back to the United States and she didn't want to come back, so I finished out her lease. So I finished out 4 months under her $600 lease. And then after that 4 months was over, this place became available because the person that was here couldn't afford to stay here, another Black person. So guess what? Right place at the right time, alignment. I knew I was where I was supposed to be because everything started falling and given to me. Things were given to me here. Things, and I also knew that this was the right place because there was an image that I kept seeing in my head, right? Now, I didn't even know where this image was. I just knew I kept seeing me in front of a wall full of, well, like windows being the back wall of a house. You know, instead of having the wall where the wall is just like floor to ceiling windows, I had an image of me always standing in front of floor to ceiling windows, looking out of it, thinking like, oh my God, I live here. Well, when I walked into this place and saw the floor to ceiling windows, I was like, this is my place. I never stayed one night in my truck here. Everything I needed was literally handed to me, was ready to be handed to me at the time. Just ready. It was just waiting on me, just waiting on me. So I knew that this was the right place for me to be. Challenging me. I studied Spanish for 5 years. I actually know Spanish. I know it. I'm resurrecting it again. It feels like I'm remembering a language that I've already known. And so my videos actually will start to probably be more silent on here because I'm getting ready to make myself stop speaking English totally for about 90 days and just immerse myself in Espanol so that I can start to go faster because I know how to speak Spanish. Speak. Habla. So that's my story of coming here. I said I was going to take a walk. I'm either going to take a walk or I'm about to go back to sleep because I am sleepy. So sleepy. But I've already eaten. You guys know I eat on a schedule from 11 to 2. And it's 2 o'clock right now, so I've eaten already. I had, if you go back to my video about 2 days ago, I meal prepped beans loaded with meat. They're loaded with ground pork and bacon. So fucking good. I can make the hell out of some beans. You hear me? Some frijoles. And then I made some cabbage, some fried cabbage. So I had fried cabbage and beans. It was so freaking good. And I'm grateful that I meal prepped because this is one of those days where I probably would not have eaten. I don't feel the, like, perkiest, right? So it's definitely like, man, if I didn't have that shit eaten, I would have just drank liquid all day and I just wouldn't have ate. Not a big problem because I can go days without eating and I actually fast about 48 hours every week. I fast. Usually like today, I ate at 12. So I probably won't eat again until Wednesday at 12 because I usually fast every Tuesday. So I won't eat it. So remember, and I only eat between 11 and 2. So Wednesday, today's Monday. I could eat probably Wednesday at 11, but I never really eat at 11 straight up unless I'm starving. And I do be hungry sometimes, but this week doesn't feel like it's gonna be like a big starving week. So, and it just happens. I go up and down. That's why I meal prep. One house in a 4-plex. Dion, get your ass down there. Get your ass down there, clean that place up, and get some pictures online, and let them know that you have a resort opening up. And your grandpa, hey, brilliant, generational wealth. Your grandpa basically handed you a business. He handed you a business. Get down there, go clean up, get you some pictures, so you can start putting it online, telling people that in 6 months a resort is coming up. What's your grandpa's name? Are we gonna name it after your grandpa? What was his last name? What's your family name? Yeah. Anyway, you better listen. I'm about to get off of here. Message me. Let's have fun. Let's go create something. I love myself. I love you guys. If you guys want to work with me, like I said, I'm a mental health practitioner. If you're somebody that is navigating some tough times in life, right? But I'm not a therapist. I don't want to hear about your tough times. I want you to be at the point where you say, I'm ready to get out of this shit. What do I need to do? What do I need to see, Kelly? What kind of pattern is going on in my life that I cannot see? Why am I always in debt? Why don't I always have money? Why am I always in some shit? Why am I always in drama? Why don't my kids like me? Huh? And we're going to go through some stuff like that. That's what we go through. We go through cycles. We go through patterns. I'm going to point out your patterns to your face. You're going to be mad at me, but then at the end, we're going to be best friends because I'm going to call you out on your shit. I got my own people to call me out on my shit. I got me about 3 or 4 people around me, ranging from sweetly telling me that I'm on some bullshit to I got one friend, she not going to sugarcoat shit. She going to be like, bitch, you an enabler. It's you, it's me, it's you. I got my own friends like that. But you definitely need a friend like me that is not going to judge your patterns. I ain't going to judge you at all because we all are in some patterns that we don't realize. And they just started from childhood. And we're doing the same thing, but we do it bigger and better because we got money now. So just because the pattern looks different or the variables of the pattern look different, a lot of times the pattern is the same. Just different variables. So if you want to work with me, kellymarisha@gmail.com. I work with all kinds of budgets. So just let me know what you can do. Starting at 150. Let me know what you can do. If 150 is what you can do, I can work with something and create you a package for 150. But I'm good at what I do, and I don't miss. I swear. If I'm lying, I'm lying. If I'm lying, let something fall right now. I don't miss. I can see the shit. And I'm gonna tell you what it is. And if you work with me within 6 months, you'll be out of it. If I tell you what to do and you decide to do the opposite, in 6 months you'll be back to me. I don't miss. Some people come back and be like, girl, it was right. I didn't listen. I should have. I'll never forget. There's this. If she don't, well, I don't care if she hears this anyway. Cause it's not, and it's still the truth. She asked me about buying some house 2 years ago, and I said, this ain't the house. This ain't it. This ain't it. This isn't it. You're gonna regret you bought this house. She online getting a GoFundMe now to help get some repairs done for the house. If you don't believe fat meat is greasy, you go on out and do what you want to do. You will be back. You will see that what I said is correct. I don't miss. I'm good at what I do. I can tell you why I say what I'm saying. I can explain to you, but because of a pattern that I see, because of my pattern recognition, remember, I'm neurodivergent. So I can try to explain to you what I see, but it may not make sense. To other neurodivergents, it'll make sense. But it has to be the other weirdos like me. Otherwise, you'll be like, how did you see that from that? Well, because this means this every time. Not sometimes. This always means this. And this and this and this always mean that. Put it together, that's a clusterfuck. And I never miss. So anyway, if you want to work with me, kellymarisha@gmail.com. I love myself. I love you all. Oh, make sure you like this video. Everybody that's on here talking to me, I should see at least, I do see 3 likes. But if you have not liked, go ahead and like this video. And share the video if you would like to. And make sure that you subscribe to my channel so that you can know when I'm on every single time. All right. I love myself. I was getting ready to say it in Spanish. See, that's why I got to start speaking Spanish. I was getting ready to say it in Spanish, and then I talked myself out of it because I'm thinking, well, what if I don't say it right? Because I'm probably not going to say it right. So, listen, I got to get some confidence. When I talk to my neighbor, I just be saying stuff. She don't care. She don't care if it's broken Spanglish. She don't care because her English is broken. I don't be caring as long as I can understand what you're saying, right? Albert, that's a nice name. So, I love myself. I love you. And I will see you guys next time.